Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness, how about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to week 24 of the 2020-2021 PGA season, WGC Dell Match Play. Always a fun tournament, more so from the DraftKings side of the extreme amount of strategy you have to take into it. I will say I hope this changes the schedule next year though, because if this was coming off Honda, which normally Honda week for me is a 4-day kind of bender with the boys and hanging out, meeting all the subs and everything. Had to miss it this year, but this would be a difficult tournament to come back and grind because I mean it's sitting here early evening Monday, and we lock Wednesday morning. So when I get done with this, I have a lot done. About to roll out a bunch to the subs, some of the special stuff that I build just for this tournament. Be doing in-depth and stuff in the Slack and stuff like that on questions, especially if you're new to match play and don't understand how I think it was 33 to 37% of lineups were not optimally built in 2019, which is crazy because 2018 it was 45% plus. Well over 40 to 45% depending on where you were. I really thought that number would come down in 2019, but it really didn't a whole lot. So maybe we didn't get last year obviously because of COVID, but maybe with even more exposure and industry talk, people will think correctly, build correctly. Always been a massive week for Gups Corner for 18 and 19 because I built the tools before anybody else had, and it allowed us to build, at least gave you a path to say, here, you can build everything optimally. It's not necessarily easy. You still have to think through stuff. There's still a lot of strategy. But it's one of those weeks that I feel you put the time and effort in with that much percent. Let's just say it gets half better, and we're close to 20%, 15 to 20%, quote unquote, not optimally built. Doesn't mean they're dead per se, because they could still get lucky, even though they may not build correctly. Almost rake-free tournaments this week, in the way I see it. But kind of see how this week goes. I'm interested to kind of see those numbers when we get done with it. I think the industry's grown, it's stronger, more voices, stuff like that. There's still not a ton of people that probably even have the tools or capability. I don't think your generic, or I wouldn't say generic, most optimizers, most lineup generators, all that aren't built for this week because it's only one time a year we do it in golf, and there's not really much there outside of it to make it worthwhile. But I think we have you covered here at Gups Corner as good as you can be. We'll wrap up our last week real quick, and then we'll get into it. It's just gonna be a lot more about strategy today than actual picking of players, although I will go through that. Last week was a so-so week for me. I kind of felt, I had plenty of Jones, plenty of Wise, had CT Pan up there, even in my single build. And, I really felt like it should have been better. It wasn't horrible, it wasn't like a complete, annihilation. I was above field average on 6 of 6s, but it still doesn't mean it wasn't much. And as Wise kind of crumbled, especially Sunday, so did most of my great lineups. It kind of had him winning, even though I had Jones in some. Like even my 5 of 6s were doing well. As Wise kept dropping Sunday, it just kind of hurt. I wouldn't say weird tournament. I mean, it pretty much played out like we thought. The cut line, the 6 of 6 percentages. If you take away Jones, what was it, 7 under, 8 under was second best, which is right around like last year with CT Pan. I mean, Sanjay was 6 under, so nothing crazy there. It's just, you can have a guy that's hot and vice versa. That leaderboard can flip so many times throughout the week that it doesn't take much for a guy to all of a sudden he's in the top 10 that he's like 48, in a heartbeat. So, definitely thought I normally do better on Showdown than I did this week on that, but it's just one of those weeks and nothing seemed to be clicking at full tilt. So you know, I think I had 40%, 45% weekly loss. You know, it's taking to move on. Feel really good about this week. I think the time and effort and strategy we put into this will pay off. Early start, so we get to, you know, kind of lock and then kind of take a breather. I hadn't looked at the, you know, Punta contest yet. If there's enough there warranted, I may do some stuff on that as well. Betting wise, we had Wise and Tringali there heading into Sunday. Wise at 80-1 pre-tournament. Not many people were on him. I did like him. You know, bounced back from the week before as well. But Jones just, you know, never faltered. And even when he kind of slipped a little, Wise got on that heater and then he tripled. And once Wise tripled, I kind of was like, this is over. Like, that was it. That was just, he's one back. He could have put pressure. Because if you're going through the bear trap with 1-shot lead, 2-shot lead, any of those holes, man, you're just, you can falter and lose. When he rolled up to it, and he basically had a 4-shot lead in most cases, I think maybe even a 5. Like, you can be really safe and just say, I'll just take par, par, par and move on. One bogey out of here, I'm still good. You don't have to worry about it. If you're like, I have to par no matter what. So if Wise was 1 shot back or something there, a little bit different situation. So not the drama we normally get on Sundays at the Honda. So maybe that was a little bit of a letdown. Losing week on the matchups for me, Sunday wasn't great, but on to the next one. Never want to spend too much. I don't win or good or bad. I don't spend too much on the previous week. You guys, feedback says you tune in for this week. As always, right now we're doing our push for March to the Masters, 30% off any package. We have made the decision as a team that moving forward, all of our packages will start with a 7-day free trial every week, or every, you know, for now until I stop it per se. So, want to give us a try this week or any week. Anytime you try, your first 7 days are on us. You can cancel at any time. That's just kind of our promo going forward. But you get 30% off your packages. So you sign up. You don't like it, close or cancel within 7 days, no charge. You do like it, you'll just get charged your first deal after 7 days and get your, whether it's weekly, monthly, annual, whatever, we'll renew. But our deal is like, we feel like we're so well established and our foundation is built now. We want as many people coming in, checking out the Slacks included in that. So you get to check out Slack, the community, the family, everything for 7 free days. Then you get your first charge if you decide to stay. If not, no worries, no harm, no foul type of deal. You can use the code MASTERS for 30% off any gear in the GC store as well. If you become a member, I'll make sure you get our member code where you get a special discount as long as you're a new member, or as long as you're a current member as well. And this goes, the March to the Masters goes through Sunday at Augusta. Sign up, stay on. So if you sign up and cancel, you're not enrolled. You have to sign up for an annual membership. You know, stay through the free period, and you'll be in the drawing. Someone's going to win a brand new Titleist TSI driver, a set of custom-made Vokey wedges, custom-made any way you want, and then our GC gift pack that includes the Masters merchandise. Winner's choice. Second winner will get whatever's left over, and then the third winner will get what's left over of those two. So you can go check it out at Gup's Corner on Twitter. See the pictures of all the stuff that we have. Really awesome stuff. About almost $2,000 in giveaways there. For this giveaway. So any new signups or current subs that upgrade to full site, we've been tracking this going back all the way till February 1st. So all you guys are included. If you upgraded to full site January 1st or further, you're in that as well. So we're looking forward to that. Rate and review us on iTunes as always. As we get closer to the Masters, 2 weeks away, we'll be doing big giveaways like we always do. One way that you will definitely get into a drawing is rate and review us on iTunes. And then every time you, if you're subscribed and you like our YouTube videos and leave a comment, you get into future drawings as well. This week, I want to know your Final Four. Just leave it in the comments. Who do you think is going to make the Final Four of the tournament? And we'll do a giveaway. Well, I guess I keep thinking Wednesday, but maybe Kenny and I will do one tomorrow. I'll pick some winners or something like that. So leave in the comment your Final Four. And if you've done comments before, you're still in the drawings if I haven't drawn your name. So it never hurts to do this every week. That always helps us a lot. Listeners League is up. We got 400 this week. I didn't want to not fill it. We came, you know, with such a quick turnaround, and some people just don't mess with match play. I think all of Gup's Corner will. I think we'll support it strong because I feel like we'll have all the tools and knowledge, at least optimal to most. But I just did 400 this week. Let's fill that real quick. It'll be in the link, as well as I'll have a link in there for the bracket challenge that the PGA Tour does. I created a league. I'll put the link in there. use the password GUPS, G-U-P-S, and come join the league. I'll do giveaways for that as well. Depending on how many we get, I'll tell you what we'll give away. I'll probably give away some Masters gear, some GC merchandise, stuff like that. For, you know, depending on how many we get. If we get over 100 or something like that, maybe top 10 or something like that. Last week's winner, Droid1232, 502 points, had Henley, Lowry, Still, Thompson, ZJ, and Jones. So a nice 6 of 6 there on what were around 4%, 5% in some cases on 6 of 6. Jones being the key. I will say I think it's the first time that I've had the winner at the Honda and I was overweight on the field and I really didn't have like a blowout week. Last year, last year I killed it. You know, we're all live there, had a great week, showdown and regular. So having Jones and not getting there, and even a Wise faltered, he still finished 13, so he paid off for sure. But great lineup by him. I will get you your invite tonight to the League of Champions deal at the end of the year. We're looking forward to that. Let's get that filled up again as soon as you can. 400 spots, so I reduced it by 100 just because we have the short time window going on and so much other stuff going on with March Madness and all that, the basketball version and golf. Wanted to make sure we got it full. If you're not familiar, this is held at Austin Country Club, par 71, about 7,100, Pete Dye course. The nines are flipped for match play. So if you're looking at a map or anything like that, if it's not from the PGA, sometimes you'll see the holes in the traditional layout. It's flipped here for match play just for the way they want the finish to happen. You know, pretty typical Pete Dye course. Kenny Kim will have our full course preview, plus his podcast. I'm sure he'll go into it. Deep pop bunkers, big undulation. Was there 2 years ago, you know, with several guys. JB flew in. It was a fun time. Great course. Loved walking it. It's one of my favorites. If we weren't in the middle of everything we're doing right now, I'd probably try to go down there, at least for a day or two. It's a super fun tournament to get to. You know, holes 12 through 16, when you're looking at tournament setup, they kind of call it the lowlands. It's closest to the Colorado River, the water down there. A lot of people will float the river, watch the tournament, stuff like that. Then you have the rest of the tournament kind of up high, obviously called the Highlands. Bermuda grass, it will not have overseed. I think I've kind of heard that a couple times, but really down in the south this time of year, especially like I was down in San Antonio and stuff, you don't need a bunch of overseed because the winters stay pretty warm. Now, obviously, we had historic low winter, you know, here, you know, about a month ago or so, but in general, they don't overseed down there, and I don't think they really did this year. So if anything, I would plan on kind of the Bermuda grainy grass. Looks to be great warm weather now. I don't think there'll be much overseas. So if you're hearing that out there in the industry, I don't believe that's correct. You can confuse that with like TPC Sawgrass overseeded, but Jacksonville and Austin is two totally different temperature climates throughout the winter. So I think it's going to play much, or they'll be more like Bermuda greens than anything. Warm weather, scattered tee storms Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday matters again because the tournament starts on Wednesday. Make sure you know that. Make sure you get locked in. So people, I don't think you'll lose track of that, but just in case. Nothing crazy though. I think some spotty showers. I don't know. It may stop here or there for an hour or less than that. But nothing. There are no draws here. Obviously, we're looking at weather or anything like that. But nothing crazy. I don't think it'll hurt them at all. Obviously, no cut. Obviously, no winning score. Prior winners here. This moved to this format in 2015. It moved to this course in 2016. 2015 was still at Harding Park. Rory won it over Woodland. 2016, Day beat Usti. 2017, DJ beat Rahm. 2018, Bubba beat Kisner. I believe we had Bubba that year as an outright. We did, because actually when I was looking at research earlier, we were going to win like 8 units on Bubba, so we hedged a little bit. That's one nice thing about match play is if you do have the winner get to the finals, you could potentially hedge. And in 2019, Kisner beat Kuchar. So a lot of Kisner, Kuchar, just match play in general. You know, Days won, Kuchar. Poulter, obviously Tigers won 3 times, it looks like. Runner-ups, Rory, Keimer, Paul Casey. So as much as stats kind of could matter at this course, and I brought that into all the kind of deals, I do think there's some mentality, grind it out, match play, those kind of things. More importantly, while we're here, is to understand the DraftKings strategy of it all. A little bit of betting, we'll get to that. Scorings is not traditional at all. So Per hole, holes won, you get 3 points. A half, you get 0.75. You lose a half, or holes lost, you lose 0.75. Holes not played plus 1.6 to the winner. So if a guy wins and there's 4 holes left, he gets 1.6 times those amount of holes. So that's always huge if a guy can close someone out early. Matches won, you get 5 points. Matches halved, you get 2 points. There are 2 kind of streaks and bonuses. 3 consecutive holes won, you get 5 points. One per round on that, kind of like birdie streak, or it is like a birdie streak. No holes lost in a match, you get a bonus of 7.5 points. That can come in huge, right? You can't predict that or project it, but that is something to factor. Like I mentioned, 33 to 38% of lineups were quote unquote dead in 2019 upon the start. I would guess we're probably going to be around 20, 22%. I just think people will be smarter about it, especially in single entry, 3 max stuff. I would think you would have much less of that as opposed to, like the $10 this week or something like that, where people are putting in 50 lineups, 100 lineups. A lot more of those may not come out optimal because if they're not building correctly, it can get off track in a heartbeat. Stats I'm looking at this week, again, we're going to be looking more at match play history, mentality, but for the course, it's still the model rankings. In general, I'm looking at tee to green, ball striking, opportunities inside 12 feet, birdie or better, approach proximity. We don't care a lot about big holes, doubles, and all that. Now, what I do on the other side is I will look at guys who have a tendency to. So I do this kind of behind the scene is look at, okay, you have a tendency to double this amount of times, or your birdie or better rate is high, but maybe your scoring is not overall high. And obviously some of this is anecdotal and you have to do it manually to say, oh, well, maybe this guy may have big blow up holes, but man, he sure can't score. Spieth, kind of back in the day, he's not done that as crazy now. Even DJ, look at his last round at the TPC at the Players. I think he had 7 birdies that day and 6 bogeys. So guys that, even if they're not on Rory, he's had some big bad holes. So not that matters. It's just some of the whole formula that we're bringing in to the consideration there. So for me, that's always big, right? Is can a guy where if you're at a tournament and you go, man, I just tripled, especially like a tournament that scores 17, 18, 19 under, when a match play is just 1 hole, totally different mindset. And if you play golf in your men's league or anything like that, like some guys play well at that. I'm one of those. Like I do well. I've won a few match play championships at multiple clubs I've been at, where stroke play tournament, I do good there as well, but even quota, so if you're at a member guest a lot of times, and quota's not like match play, but sometimes the max you can take on a quota is 0 points or -1. Well, if I get off whack, I just, you're done, right? You don't have to worry about a stroke play. Every stroke matters. So it can relax some people, I think. And then the match play side of it is like me versus him. So you alter your play depending on how that person may be playing. So does a Bryson have an advantage here? Because more times than not, he's going to always see the second shot of his opponent before someone else. Those things kind of all come into play. We kind of think about it. Pricing, why it matters. It'll matter for sure some, but more will come down to how you think the bracket plays out. 10K, we have 7 guys, 9K, 7 guys, 8K, 10 guys, 7K, 20 guys, 6K, 20 guys. So yes, that stuff matters. Not as much as like a real tournament, because you're going to have to fit people based on their quadrants and their groupings and their subgroups way more than you are going to have to worry about, staying under their salary cap. I mean, you still have to stay under the salary cap, but in this case, it's going to be like, well, I don't really care. I need to worry more about getting the right guys through and having that build before I need to worry about anything else, if that makes sense. There'll be lineups, like my min-max this week isn't necessarily going to be a big a deal as, do I have the right groups in place that I want, as opposed to, leaving a couple $100 on the salary table or anything like that. I think there are some chalky situations here where we certainly can, look at that stuff, and I think that stuff does matter. Certainly in this format, I do think having your exposure and circumstances spread out a little more definitely matters this week. I'll get into the strategy in just a second a little bit more than the players. I still did the Sweet 16. So what I did is I have them in quadrants, and I have them in subgroups and groups. So the big groups is an A, B, a C, and a D. And then the subgroups is a AA, a BB, or AB, a BA, a BB, a CA, a CB. And if you're on the site, you'll see all this. This is kind of how I dictate how you build properly. And at the end of the day, when we're looking at the bracket, your first goal is to get 6 guys in the Elite 8, right? So you're going to have 1 from each big group, and then you'll pick 2 from a subgroup, not over crossing each other. So if I pick DJ and he's in subgroup AA, so those 8 guys, I'm not going to pick anybody else in that because I want to get 6 guys in each subgroup throughout the bracket, way more than I care about, I think Sung Jae may be a good play, but I'm not going to pick DJ and Sung Jae because they'll play each other in the round of 16 and no chance for both of them to get to Elite 8. We want all 6 of our guys to have a chance to get to Elite 8. That's the biggest deal this week. And you want all 6 of your guys to have a chance to get to the Final 4. So, the first rule is going to be you want 1 player from each quadrant, or big group, however you want to look at it, group A, B, C, and D. So in this deal, you'll have, a big group would be the DJ group, Sungjae, Webb, and Hatton. All those guys are, think of your Sweet 16 going to your Final 4 type of deal. That's kind of how you're looking at it. Where most people can get off, I think a lot of people harp on having 3 and 3. I don't think that's necessarily considered optimal, right? Because it doesn't, while it can matter and it gives you a little bit more chance, I think you can have 4 on one side and 2 on the other. If you really feel confident about the 2, I may not do that in a 1 to 3 max type builds, but if I'm building 50 to 100, I don't care where my 6 are as long as I have 4, 1, in the A, the B, the C, and the D. The other 2, yeah, I could see the argument of 1 on each side gives you a better chance. But, if you're just looking at your builds or the brackets, you go, man, I really love Hatton this week. Or I love Hatton and DJ. I think one of those guys are getting out of the A. And you look at the B. I think one of these, Bryson or Finau, those guys, and you're really confident in it, it's okay to just take 1 guy in a build out of the A group and 1 guy out of, say, the D group. And then now you got 4 slots out of the B and C because you may not be as confident there. You still have the chance to get all 6 in the Elite 8 and all 4 in the Final 4. I think that can be an advantage because I think a lot of people will say you have to have 3 and 3. No, you don't. It's not optimal to have 3 and 3 all the time. You can have 4 on one side and 2 on the other. You still have a shot. The biggest deal is getting 6 in the Elite 8 and 4 in the Final 4. That's the goal. It doesn't matter how you got there. You have to just give yourself a chance to do that. Most people don't. Most people do by math. Let's say 70% are going to build that way. We obviously get a little bit of edge because if we have 20 to 30 that don't, that helps us. I think that's the biggest deal. That's the thing that, so I have a builder that I built several years ago. I've updated it. I'll have it out there. We are also working to get this same theory that I've used on my tool that I've had for 3-4 years now. 3 years since 2018 in the Green Machine. So you guys seen all the updates in Green Machine. It's been great. Big advantage this week. If we can get that in there, that makes it even better. But worst case, you'll have my tool that makes it super simple to build your lineup and it's built optimally the way that we're talking about here. So what I'm going to do is just go through it's still a Sweet 16. I'm going to give you 8 or 16 guys, 2 out of each basically Sweet 16 type matchup. So 1 in 16, if those, went out optimally, you'd have DJ versus Sungjae. 8-9 would be Webb versus Hatton. So those groups of 4, so basically 8 guys, I'm going to give you my favorite 2 out of each group. That'll get us 16 guys. And then I got about 10 other guys that I just think are good plays. So, we're not going to have the gut feel and all that this week. I just want to talk more about strategy and who's coming out of where. And then I got 1 guy. I may look at a fade and a sleeper. We'll talk about betting. I think you can live bet a lot here as well. And then we'll kind of wrap it up. Most of the time and effort's going to be really working with the community on the paywall stuff that we're going to put out there that they see and helping to make sure that they understand what we're trying to accomplish there. so to start out for me, the 116 groups, so the DJ group and the Sungjae group, I actually like DJ and Sungjae. Those are the two I like out of the gate. I think with, let me get my book brought up. With the way that Sungjae is priced, it makes it kind of doable. There are some guys I'll mention a little bit later out of these 8 that I like as well, but I like DJ, 51% match play winning percentage, 29 total matches. I'll have all this on the Gups Corner workbook that I put out for you guys a little bit later. Sungjae hasn't played in a WGC match play. $8,800 though. He's 8th in the stats, 23rd in recent form, 14 in course fit. I like all that. So out of those 8 guys, those are 2 guys I like to get, that's going to be in my pool. Next is the 8-9, which is if it was perfect, it'd be Hatton versus Webb in the Sweet 16. I like Garcia in the Hatton group, and I like Casey. Garcia's 8,300, lives in Austin, knows this course well, veteran of match play. A lot to like about him. He'll probably be a little bit popular, but I think Hatton will garnish enough that I can actually get Garcia a little bit of a discount. And I like Casey, $8,900, another good price. 61% in this match play winning percentage out of 44 matches. That's great. 26 in stats, 13 in course fit. Saw him a lot. We walked with him Wednesday, I think, of the 2019 one. Likes this place a lot. I think he's a great play. Obviously, we start getting into the pricing part of it, where you're not going to be able to put all these guys in one lineup. So then it becomes the part of, all right, I got to fit, if I can't, which low guy do I try to sneak in and get the upset type of deal? That's all going to happen. Since it's moved here in 2016, Casey's had a 9, T9, 17, a 9, and then a 51 back in 16. But the last 3 years, he's always at least made it out of this group. So that's another deal I like. The 512, if it was perfect, would be DeChambeau versus Finau. I like Siwoo. Obviously, Pete Dye specialist. 30% win rate, not the best, but only 10 matches, $7,300. So this is a spot you may be able to get a cheap guy into your lineup, upside potential. Bryce is going to probably be popular. I get that, but Fleetwood's not coming in with like the best of best forms. And the Rosner, I don't know much about. He's the one guy I did do research over in Euro. Didn't have any stats hardly at all or anything. $6,200. He's super cheap, but I kind of like Siwoo. And then I like Kokrak. I think 7,500. I think Zalatoris will be popular, and I'll probably have plenty of them. But I think in this group, you'll have a lot of guys that'll be kind of spread out. Tony will for sure be popular, 50% match play. As far as stats and course fit, Kokrak really fits the best out of the group for me, and I get him pretty cheap. Upside again, out of that 12 group there, I think that's a good way to go, especially in some other groups where I think you may need to pay up. The 413 group is, in a perfect world, be Morikawa versus Hovland. I like Morikawa. I can't deny him. He's number 1 in stat, number 1 in recent form, 22 in course fit. I think Homo will be popular in this group, and I think Horschel and Poston will probably be not as popular, but Horschel's got a pretty decent match play. He's played 11 matches, 45% win rate. He's 11 in the stat form, so he's someone to probably keep an eye on for player pool potential. But I like Morikawa there, and I don't mind paying up for him. I like Strillman, $6,300. I think that really opens up some salary for us. Answers from this area. He's a San Antonio, but he knows Austin pretty decently. Strillman's a guy who can just get a hot putter, and so when I look for a cheap guy, if you can get the hot putter, there's no one that's just going to dominate him here. I think Hovland obviously is great, ball striking, all that kind of stuff. I feel like Strillman's mentality and stuff, although he's only had 1 match, could be a little underrated. And really, you're going to have to save and take chances somewhere. And I really think this group in itself, I could see any of them winning. Even Weisberger, I don't mind that, but I kind of went with Strillman there as a good cheap option. The 215 matchup would be perfect world JT and Spieth. I like Usti. For the price, I'm wondering who's going to get more love out of him and Kisner. I think it'll be Kisner. I mean, this is kind of probably known as the depth group, so this is one you're probably going to want to get maybe some exposure to any of them because they can all win, especially if you're doing like a 20 bill, 50 bill, 100 bill, whatever. I like any of those guys. You can make arguments for all of them, no doubt. I'll go Usti and Spieth. If Spieth starts to become, we rode him so hard before the popularity was back. I don't know if I want a super popular Spieth at $9,300, but obviously played at UT along with Scheffler, Fratelli, which that's kind of probably the one most don't realize. I really think he can come out of this. I feel strong him coming out of here. Wolf, maybe he's feeling better. Probably would have some Wolf because I think he'll be super low owned coming off the withdrawals, the hurt, the injury, whatever. Connors is a guy that rates out really well when I'm just looking at, if I was kind of ranking this as a course, he was my top overall, 4th in stats, 3 in recent form, and 4th in course fit. No match play though. Guy I would keep in mind for a pool, but if I'm picking 2, I would go Usti and Spieth out of these. The 7-10 would be Reed versus Cantley in a perfect Sweet 16 world. I like Reed. We gotta like him in a match play setting. I think Bubba will get some love. I don't mind going to Bubba there. I don't mind going to Neiman. So this is a group that pretty good. I just think Reed comes out of it. I think this is something that he grinds. He loves doing that stuff. And I like Harmon. Another guy that can putt. 19th in recent form in this group. I mean, in the whole deal. 25th in course fit. Nice, cheap, $7,200. Lets you fit some builds in. I think out of any of these, this is probably one of the weakest foursomes that, because we just don't know where Cantley is overall. Withdrew, didn't look good, missed the cut. Could come out here and light it up, no doubt. He's got 50% win rate, only 6 matches though, $9,800. I could go with any of these. Matsu, 18 matches, 44% win rate. I think it's kind of a coin flip. So if I can save money in areas like that, I like Harmon, and then I like Reed out of the 7-10 area. 6-11 would be Schauffele and Rory in a perfect Sweet 16. I like both those guys. I think Rory, I hope, goes under the radar here. I think he could do well in this kind of format. He's done well. He's won it. So 65.8% match play winning percentage in the WGC. 4th in stats, 6th in form. Those holes that just have killed him lately won't be as big of a deal here. It's just one hole. I think he got a pretty good draw. I like Poulter. I know he's going to get talked about. He's huge in match play, but I don't think he's coming in just fire. And I get the price too, so I'll have some of him more than likely in my big builds because he allows me that savings to build elsewhere. But I'd really like Rory, and I don't mind being overweight on him this week. And I'll probably put a bet on him. I like the 20-1 number that was out there. And then Schauffele, I like him. I like Day, could do well. Scheffler and Sullivan are both in there. Scheffler, like I mentioned, from UT. I don't know if I do much Sullivan, but he is 6,000, so I don't see him getting out of it. I would say that, like, it's a good week to also, like, eliminate 8 to 10 that you just absolutely don't see getting out. I mean, if you're building 150, maybe you bring them all in, but you don't want to waste a build on guys that you really just don't see getting out of there. Although we've seen all the, percentage of people, top seeds getting through and all that is pretty even when you look at top versus the next tiers. Although top guys have won this thing as well, so we can't just push that aside. Kisner and Bubba have won the last 2. They weren't as ranked aside, but before that, I think a number 1 or 2 seed had won 3 straight years. So certainly something you can keep in mind. But I do like Schauffele, and Rory the best here. They also price the most, so you're probably not getting them. You could get them in the same lineup. Well, actually, in this scenario, you wouldn't want them in the same lineup, but you can start with them and then go with the cheap guy, elsewhere. We go back up to what I call the CB quadrant, Reed, Cantley, that's where you maybe put a Harmon in with a Rory, stuff like that. The 314 bracket is Rahm, Berger would be the perfect there. I think Berger's kind of a wild card. Withdrew, we know the ribs. You would think he wouldn't come out here prepared for potential 7 rounds in 5 days if he wasn't feeling good, but who knows? May get low ownership on that because of that. I like Palmer. I like Rahm, but most places where we like Rahm, we like Palmer. He's 7,000. Another area to save some salary if you're going up top elsewhere. I feel like his style fits a match play deal. He has not been in a WC match play very often. Only 5 matches, only won 20%. So nothing that pops out. This is more of a gut feel play to me. While Lowry and Rahm, I think, will garnish more ownership in this area. I think Palmer's a good play down here. I have Berger picked for now. out of the 14 seed bracket, which would be Berger, English, Todd, and EVR. Just because I think he's so much better than those other three. I would imagine he's popular and chalky. English, surprisingly, only 6 matches, but has a 66.67% win rate. Course fit, he does well. He is not coming in good form or anything like that. But maybe he's a guy that can capitalize from match play as opposed to a tourney right now. I'm hoping Berger just kind of comes in not under the radar, like low owned, coming off the injury, withdrawal, all that kind of stuff. We'll see. Maybe we'll see more as we get a little bit closer. Obviously, we're locked. This time tomorrow, we're already gonna be looking to lock in. I think it starts at 8:30 Central Time, which is where it's at in Austin. Some other guys just to note, that I wrote down. I like Leishman. He's in. Where is Mr. Leishman at? Oh, he's up top. Okay, so he's in the Sung Jae group. I could see him as a cheap one there. If you're mixing and matching your pools. I like Wallace. He's in the Hatton group. Another cheap guy I think you could add in your pool. I mentioned earlier, I do like Bryson, even though I picked Siwoo. I think Bryson could be mixed in your pool. Zalatoris, let's see if he's going to get chalky. The one thing about him is like putting can matter so much in match play, and that can be his weakness. That I don't want to eat a chalky one there. That's kind of I went with Kokrak, but I think Zalatoris can be on your radar. Hovland is on my radar. Kisner, I just think he's gonna be so popular that we'll see. I don't know if I want to get there. Certainly someone to take a look at. He's defending champ, $7,600, 70% match play win rate on 20 matchups, pretty good. Neiman, Jason Day, Scheffler, I mentioned, and then Rahm. So those are kind of 10 guys that, other than the 2 I gave you out of each one, that are kind of really on my radar right now. The one fade I have, and I mentioned a little bit, is Poulter. I think he'll be super popular at $6,700. That I'm either going to go light or not at all, and just hope Rory, even Cam Smith, Alonso, someone like that can pull that one off, and that really gets a lot of chalk out of there at that $6,700 price. I think a sleeper that I hadn't really mentioned that I just like how he's played and watching him lately is Victor Perez, $6,600. I don't think Sungjae, Henley, Leishman is like a killer bracket there. Now he would have to get through DJ down the road, but potentially I think DJ has one of the easier draws of the whole deal, which probably means he'll be chalky. But maybe Bobby Mack can get there, but Long, Mack, and Nah, he got a pretty good draw for DJ. But Victor could be a guy that escapes out of there, and maybe you have a chance. At $6,600, I don't hate him at all. Betting wise, which is a little bit different in this format, top 5 to pop and 2 long shots. My top 5 was Siwoo, Neiman, Rory, Scheffler, and Spieth. My 2 long shots, Palmer and Strowman. I think Palmer's 100 and Strowman's 125. Long shots, but I think they could do some damage. And the one nice thing about this is if you get a long shot that like makes a Sweet 16, you can kind of hedge a little bit along the way because it's just 1 versus 1 as opposed to a real tournament where I had Wise going into Sunday. I don't really have a easy way to hedge there. I guess I could have if I felt like it's going to be Wise or Jones, but there's so many guys that were sitting right there that it's not super easy to just hedge out of that life. So that's one nice thing about this. If you want to take a long shot, I think that's a good way to go. One and done. I know some one and dones are doing both tournaments. Some are doing one. For this one, I think you could take a little more chance than you normally would. It is a big pot. WGC, I think the winner gets 1.7, 1.8 million. So it's certainly something you want to focus on, not just take a shot at it. But I think you can go anywhere from anybody that's 40 to 1, 50 to 1 and under. I feel pretty good about it. But I like Schauffele, Rory, Rahm, DJ, Bryson. I would definitely have lined up who am I going to play at the Masters. That's in 2 weeks. You should probably have a pretty good idea who you're going to do. Who could I potentially play at the other WGC plus majors and kind of see who's hanging out there. Maybe it's Reed. Maybe I don't really see myself playing Reed at any of those. He's worth a shot here, $9,600, and he's 28 to 1. That could be a good one and done this week. JT, maybe you still have him. And I don't really see him at a major. Not all these guys are going to fit, to play all the rest of the WGCs and majors left at other big pots. So kind of play with it, pencil it in, and go, all right, here's 3 guys that I don't really see myself using at this moment at a major. And I'd use one of those top guys this week. I mean, I just think mathematically that's the best thing to do. It's a big pot. So everybody gets paid too. So if you want to take a little bit of risk, at least, as long as you at least get some kind of paycheck. So it's certainly an option if you'd like to. Kenny has committed to doing E9 tomorrow. I don't know the time for sure. Maybe a hair later, just so we can kind of let some of the stuff digest. I mean, I'm going to have most of my game plan done tonight and a lot of content out either tonight or early in the morning. Because obviously, we only have 24 hours from now. We're going to be, less than 12 hours away. So 36 hours left to build and everything. And I think the time consumption, especially if you're doing 20 plus lineups to build out correctly, and if you're a member, don't get too overwhelmed by all the stuff I was mentioning with quads and all that, because what I send you as the workbook lays it all out for you. Super easy to follow. Obviously, I'll have my Slack and everything rolling for questions. So hop in with us tomorrow night on E9. We'll answer any questions you guys have. If you're having questions that you're trying to build through this process, hit me up. I'm not going to answer like plays. We're still building lineups. Obviously I'll answer the stuff like I normally do, but I'm not going to build your lineup for you. But I will help you understand if you're struggling after seeing the visuals and the tools and everything that I send out later. Going to be a fun week. This is one of my favorite weeks for DK. With the way they do it. One question I got earlier, and I'm not 100% on, is are they doing showdown, and how would I see that playing out? And I'm like, well, playing out's easy because it would be just what it is, that day, and you're trying to look for guys that could close guys out early. I don't remember if 2 years ago they did showdown or not. I could see it the first 3 days. Probably a little tough. Maybe they do like a captain showdown on Saturday. But then again, you have 2 rounds played Saturday. I honestly, I just feel like they didn't do it, but I can't remember 100%. I will certainly address it if they do. The first 3 days, I could see them doing it because you have a full field. You got 60-something guys to choose from. They're going to score just like any other. They'd have to do the scoring like they're doing the main one. So we'll see how it comes up. I can't remember 100% though, so I will check into that as soon as I find out. I'll have a bunch of stuff out to you guys tonight. Look forward to it. And then Kenny and I tomorrow night live. Don't forget, March to the Masters, 30% off, 1 week free trial with all memberships moving forward. Looking forward to this week. Hit me up if you have any questions. Have a blessed week. Thanks.